This is the Energy Makers Show, featuring the innovators, financiers, and policymakers focused on the global energy demand. Brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And here's your host, Russ Capper.
Hi, I'm Russ Capper, and welcome to episode number 110 of the Energy Makers Show. First up today, Maryanne Maldonado, Vice President at Houston Technology Center and Managing Director of the energy sector, where she focuses on speeding up commercialization of early-stage energy companies. Then up next, JoAnn Meyer, founder of Previse, a new upstream oil and gas consulting company offering decades of real-world experience. All of that coming up right after this.
At BKD, we understand the constantly shifting nature of the energy industry. As a national CPA and advisory firm, we serve energy clients from the beginning to the end of the cycle. Our experienced energy advisors serve approximately 300 energy companies in exploration, midstream, downstream, oilfield services, and power production. Plus, we're the largest North American member of the Praxity Global Alliance, which means we can help you wherever you operate. Contact a BKD advisor or visit us online to learn more.
This is the Energy Makers Show, brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And now, back to the Energy Makers Show with your host, Russ Capper.
Welcome back to the Energy Makers Show. My guest now, Maryanne Maldonado, Vice President at the Houston Technology Center and Director of the energy sector. Maryanne, welcome to the Energy Makers Show.
Thank you, Russ. Pleased to be here.
Okay, wow, there you go. The renowned Houston Technology Center, named by Forbes as one of the leading tech centers changing the world. You're in the middle of carrying the energy banner in the energy capital of the world, in the middle of an incredible transformation. Do you like your job?
I love my job.
Okay. It must be exciting times.
It's very exciting at HTC. We are one of the great organizations that is not only a nonprofit organization that helps contribute to jobs and economic wealth in this region, but it also helps in working with entrepreneurs who are really making successful, positive impacts into the industry.
Absolutely. I would underscore positive in the energy side. My goodness, we go from energy crisis to maybe actually becoming an exporting nation. It's phenomenal. I always argue that I think we ought to be having a national celebration right now because I believed we were headed for a collision course in energy.
And we're now one of the world's largest producers of energy now. So it's a great place to be, a great time to be in the industry.
Absolutely. Okay, so tell me what you're doing, what your organization is doing, HTC, in the energy space these days.
Well, we have an organization that not only works in energy, IT, life science, nanotechnology, and aerospace. There's a lot of crossover in those applications, but in energy, we are really looking for those disruptive technologies that are going to make a significant change in our marketplace. So we get the opportunity to work with entrepreneurs who are selecting disruptive technologies and helping these entrepreneurs understand not only the technical challenges of which they're going to face in taking their product or service or technology to market, but also their business challenges. Many of these entrepreneurs are very, very technically savvy and they understand things at a technical level, but they really don't understand how to convey a compelling business proposition or how to formulate and articulate a value that's really going to penetrate with their customer base and thus get capital and enter the market.
And that's what you guys do, eh?
That's
Help them
what we
get
do.
There. All right, really cool. I thought about this when you mentioned aerospace as well. I keep hearing stories about some NASA, some aerospace people kind of really veering into the energy industry right now and using some of their scientific analytical capabilities and helping that industry. Do you see any of that at the HTC?
We absolutely see a lot of that. We see a lot of opportunities with the Johnson Space Center to collaborate with the Houston Technology Center. We have a presence out there on the campus, identifying those technologies that have commercial potential in the energy industry, and also acquainting the energy industry with capabilities inside of NASA. Advanced materials, sensing technologies, working in remote locations, trying to make things as safe as we can. Those are all challenges that both industries face, and we're looking for ways that we can collaborate more closely to identify those technologies that are really going to be vital for both our industries.
That's impressive. So how does a young kind of early stage company become part of the Houston Technology Center initiative?
If you're interested in becoming a Houston Technology Center client, you have to come with disruptive technology, something that you have intellectual property, that you are making a big impact into the industry. We invite you to come out, see what it is we're doing. We help companies position themselves to be successful, and we do that through a number of different ways, through mentoring, through providing strategic business guidance. We work very closely with a large pool of volunteer business mentors and technical advisors that can get them engaged with the communities that they need to be successful.
Do you have more companies than ever that want to be part of the initiative?
We have a lot of companies that we're working with. Some are too early to work with us.
Okay.
Some are a little more advanced, and we refer them out to other organizations. We also are looking to bring in international companies that have technologies outside of our borders to be their hub for connecting them with resources that can help them further engage with our local industry here.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the existing portfolio in the energy sector.
Okay. We are currently working with about 50 energy technology companies.
50?
Mm-hmm.
50.
Yes,
Wow.
50.
Right.
And all of those companies are in various stages of development. Some might be very early stage that are getting their technology, product, or service validated in the industry, which is very significant milestone for these companies, because no one wants to risk the life of their staff, the life of a well, in deploying new technology.
Well,
So
I think that's one of the reasons why kind of commercialization in the energy space, oil and gas space, kind of gets poor reviews sometimes from entrepreneurs because it supposedly takes real long.
it takes a long time. Estimates are between 20 and 30 years to get an energy technology into the marketplace. And so you want to position the entrepreneur and their technology in the best possible light that you can, engage them with the early adopters so that they can get their technology into the marketplace and hopefully vet it out. We have in our portfolio, like I mentioned, about 50 different companies: upstream, midstream, downstream, advanced materials, sensing, water remediation, new ways of looking at seismic imaging, seismic processing. We also have companies that are working in inspection, such that are using robots to inspect tank environments.
Cool.
Also, if you can make the materials stronger and more enduring, then that is going to be better off with the aging infrastructure that we have in our industry as well.
Absolutely. Do you get on the radar of some of the major companies in our neighborhood here?
Absolutely. We are excited that we have energy partners that work with us very closely to select the companies that we're working with. So we have all of the technology majors that you would expect to be there, from Shell, ConocoPhillips, Schlumberger, Halliburton, Total, Statoil. We come together once a month to help select the right type of technologies that are going to make an impact in our community and industry.
Share with me a couple of the most unusual companies in your portfolio today.
Most unusual company.
Yes.
Well, we have a company right now that we are screening to bring into our fold that has a new type of material developed out at Johnson Space Center so that it can really retain heat. So it is a fiber material that they're looking at putting in different retail products such as socks or gloves or things underneath your clothing to help retain heat. And that's really going to be critical for those people who are in remote locations. We also have a company that's working to develop a robot that goes into above ground storage tanks to inspect them so they won't have to be taken down entirely when they need to inspect the tank. They can do it while there's fluids in there. We have another company that's working with two types of technology, absorption and suppression. And what that really means is they have a type of technology that is a format that they can spray into an enclosed environment that reduces the vapors that can be very dangerous
Yes.
and explosive.
Wow.
And we've had some recent occurrences of those things happen just due to vapor containment.
Right.
So if you can reduce the vaporization within a tank environment, that's going to be very, it provides for much safer environments.
Maryanne, I really appreciate you coming in and sharing this with us.
Thank you, Russ, and we're pleased to be a part of the Energy Makers Show.
All right, thank you very much. And that wraps up my discussion with Maryanne Maldonado, Vice President with the Houston Technology Center and leader of their energy initiative. We'll be back with more right after this.
Production of natural gas from shale is arguably the biggest and best story in the history of the American oil and gas business the last 50 years. Okay, I mean, no doubt about that.
And that's the remarkable thing about energy and transformations in general. Anytime you can remove the geologic uncertainty to an extent and really boil it down to technology, the entire question is entirely different, right? It really is about how do we make it work. It becomes a scientific issue rather than an issue of uncertainty.
This is the Energy Makers Show, brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And now, back to the Energy Makers Show.
Welcome back to the Energy Makers. I'm Brandy Obvintsev, and I'm here today with JoAnn Meyer, President and CEO of Previse Consulting.
Thank you. It's nice to be here, Brandy.
So, Previse is a very different type of consulting firm for the oil and gas industry. Let's talk a little bit about how you got started.
I did spend 30 years in the upstream oil and gas industry, doing everything from first-line engineering and operations supervisors. Worked my way eventually through many engineering business-type roles to about a decade as a senior vice president with an upstream oil and gas company in California. And after doing that for 28 or so years, I decided that I would like to do something different. And so I spent a little time with a large consulting company. And during that time, it just struck me that there were limited options available to upstream oil and gas companies who are interested in tapping into the knowledge and experience of people that have been there and done that. That's the premise behind Previse, is to provide an avenue for upstream oil and gas leaders to tap into the knowledge and experience of veteran senior executive leaders to help them put together strategies that will deliver results to the bottom line.
And how do you do that?
Yeah. Many of the people that are working with me at Previse, as I mentioned, these are decision makers that have 20 and 30 years, not only with experience at doing upstream oil and gas work, but being in positions, executive positions, where they had to make decisions. And they had to chart strategies or courses of action. And in addition to that, we've all had then to live with our decisions.
That's huge. That's absolutely huge.
Sometimes those decisions and those plans were very well thought out and executed, and things went according to plan. And many times they did not. And so what do you do now that it didn't go exactly? Having to live with that, having to, the insight that you get from the fact that you didn't ask the right question when you were thinking about this, is invaluable.
Give me an example of a project that you've been involved in.
The largest opportunities that I see many times is there's a very prevalent saying that floats around the oil and gas industry these days, which is called digital oil field of the future. And a lot of that focus is on using information or information systems, information technology to make better decisions and to integrate processes. So a particular example is it's not uncommon for companies to realize that they've got some obsolescence perhaps in their back office environments, and they're wanting to move forward, and they choose to go with an integrated ERP type system. I think many times what happens is everyone gets very, very focused on the project execution around that,
right,
and hoping that by putting that in, they're going to miraculously realize all these great benefits to the bottom line. They're going to be able to be more seamless in their decision making and get great benefits. Unfortunately, what happens many times is companies don't understand that process work, the technology, the ERP solution will only automate the processes that you have. If you haven't done a really excellent job at having good processes defined, at having common definitions for all of the data that you want in that ERP, the ability to work seamlessly is going to be hindered. So unfortunately, many companies get to the end of spending tens of millions of dollars, and although they may have a system that has overcome their obsolescence issues in their back office, they aren't getting that bottom line impact.
So you all would come in and actually facilitate designing the process, ensuring that the data is clean.
I think one of the things that we will bring is the ability to know where to emphasize. So when I think of a big ERP project, don't get me wrong, project management is always going to be important. On time, on budget, absolutely. However, without the ability without those processes, the emphasis is on the good, very well integrated processes and the data quality and the integrated one definition of that. So that would be an example to come in, help them understand if they do have those common understandings or definitions around the data that's important. Do they have well thought out, very well integrated processes? Those would be two very important.
What does the word Previse mean, JoAnn?
Previse means to foresee or forewarn, to anticipate and take action accordingly. That name was it's very important. I think it's exactly what we want to try to do.
Thank you so much for coming, JoAnn.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Brandy.
And that wraps up my interview with JoAnn Meyer of Previse, and that wraps up this edition of the Energy Makers Show, seen right here on TheEnergyMakers.com.